All right, you guys, today we're going to help you level up in your business and your personal finance. Have you ever been scrolling on social media and thought, how are these people so dang successful? You ever driven down the street and you're like, how are these people getting in these houses? If you have ever had those thoughts, you're not alone. That is exactly how I used to think about 10 years ago, and I started to figure out the how. So today we're going to really jump into not only the how, but the why, and the 9 ways that people become millionaires and how you can become a millionaire too. Now, if I've never gotten a chance to hang out with you, my name is Jamil Frazier. I own and operate a business that does multiple 8 figures in revenue. I'm a real estate investor. I'm an accredited investor and an angel investor, and I make these videos to help you scale your businesses and to scale your own personal net worth. Now, check this out. According to the Global Wealth Report, 1 out of 15 Americans now are millionaires. You may not have known that. And they say by 2028, right now there's about 22 millionaires, right? By 2028, that number is going to go up to 25.4. Now, here's my belief about you. It is your destiny. It is your calling. It is your right to be one of those millionaires. So let's dive into it, because on my journey, it took me about 5.5 years from the point I made a decision that, Jamil, you're not about this life anymore. I'm not going to be staying down here. It's time for me to elevate, which means I got to separate. I'm not going to block any more of these blessings. Like, let's go. From that moment, it took 5.5 years for us to make our first million. So I want to dive into it. But before I tell you how to do it and give you those 9 strategies, I want to help you with your mindset. From my time training, coaching, and teaching thousands of entrepreneurs, the one thing that I know is most of us come and we're thinking, how? Like, just tell me how, bro. I'm about to check off of this video and go to the next one. And I just want to pump the brakes really fast. I want you to slow your roll. And I just want to work on the why, because when the why gets clear, the how is going to become much easier. All right. So let's work on the mindset. You may be familiar with this great story of this old Cherokee chief who teaches his grandson about life. Let's work on the mindset and want to dig into and want to help you with today. All right. So here's the story. It's called The 2 Wolves That Are Inside of You. So an old Cherokee chief tells his grandson about life. He said that there's 2 wolves that are fighting in each and every one of us. I got 2 wolves inside of me. You got 2 wolves that are literally battling right now. One's on your right shoulder, one's on your left shoulder, right? So grandfather says, one of these wolves is evil. Listen to what he says. One of these wolves is evil. The evil wolf blames a lot, makes excuses, has a victim mentality, waits for others, sees problems as obstacles, and has no self-control. Okay, so that's the evil one. He says, while the good one is full of hope, accountability, takes action, seeks solutions, and takes full responsibility. So this is the difference between having a growth mindset and having a fixed mindset, or what I call below the line mindset. Here's one thing that I want to encourage you with is, if we want to elevate, then we have to lean into having a growth mindset. It's a difference between that evil voice that's there and that good voice that's there. So let's dive into it. Step number 1, start a successful business. Start a business. You may not have known, but 88%, according to Forbes, are business owners. When I read that stat, I was like, wow, I didn't know that it was that high, but it makes sense why that's that high. As I started thinking about it, 2 reasons why 88% of millionaires are business owners really comes down to this T word called taxes. Point number 1 is business owners are constantly looking for ways to lower their taxable income. And one way that they do that is they do it by what we call forced savings. Like, the government literally says, if you put more money away, then we'll allow you to write that income off of your business, which is going to lower your taxes. So not only are they trying to find ways to lower their taxable income, but because they own and operate a business, they have more control. Write that word down, control. They have more control over how they pay taxes and when they pay taxes. This moves us to point number two. Number two is invest in the stock market. So my best-selling book, The Richest Man in Direct Sales, one thing I really want to outline, by the way, this is such a short book because I wanted to show folks how in just like 5 or 6 simple steps, how we can go from being down and out to really elevating in our finances. But I outline in that book how just investing 10% of my income over the course of 5.5 years turned me into a millionaire. So investing money in stocks and bonds will grow your wealth through what we call compound interest over decades. When you contribute to retirement accounts like 401ks, IRAs, or you invest in low-cost index funds, your money is going to start working in the market, and it is eventually going to start working harder for you than you work for it. When I'm working with my students, one of our philosophies in my investing club is the best money that you can make is money you don't have to work for, right? Like, how dope would it be that every day that you woke up, you saw an extra $500 that you had nothing to do, that you did nothing for, or you saw an extra $1,000 or $10,000. I have some days now to where I'll wake up and we might make an extra $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 that day for doing what? Nothing. Point number 3, invest in real estate. The famous actor Will Rogers said this about investing in real estate. He said, do not wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. And most of you guys know about that department store, Marshall's. The founder of Marshall's, his name is Marshall Field. So this is what he said about investing in real estate. Write down this quote. Buying real estate is not only the best way, the quickest way, the safest way, but to him, the only way to become wealthy. Now think about this. This man has built a huge company. All of us know Marshall's, right? We've probably been shopping there. His company has made billions in revenue, and he's still saying for him, the best way to become wealthy is to do what? Invest in real estate. Number 4, develop high income skills. For me, I do not consider myself a very smart person or technical person. I never was like that studious guy. I graduated high school with a 2.2 GPA, and so I don't consider myself all that bright, but I was able to develop skills that pay a lot. Let's talk about them. For me, those were sales skills. I learned how to sell. I learned how to influence. I learned how to negotiate. I learned leadership. I learned public speaking. I learned how to become an author and start writing books. I learned how to raise millions of dollars for companies. Those are skills that, believe it or not, even if you don't have high IQ or education, those are skills that pay millions. So develop high income skills. Other fields might be software engineering or law or medicine or finance. These are all fields that carry, 6-figure incomes. But just remember, if you don't listen to anything else I say on this video, remember this. It's not so much about how much you make or even how you make the money, but it is more about how much you keep and how much of what you're keeping you're investing. How you scale wealth isn't necessarily by what you earn or how you earn it, but it is about how you invest it. Number 5, ride economic waves. This is something that I didn't think about when I started on my business journey and my personal finance journey. I wasn't studious enough. I just sort of had fallen into an industry, and then I made a decision to maximize that industry to become part of the 1% club in that industry. But for you, find economic waves. What's big right now is NVIDIA, tech, GLP-1s right now in the health and wellness space. A couple years ago, when we were in the midst of COVID, those were things like COVID testing centers. But tech and AI is huge right now. Video is big right now. Look what you are watching me on. Editing is big right now. So find ways to ride those waves by creating companies in those industries or working for companies in those industries or investing in companies in those industries. Number 6, get out of debt. Publilius Cyrus, who was an old ancient Latin writer who actually, interesting enough, was sold and bought as a slave in Rome, Italy, but because he was so charismatic, then he was able to sort of influence his master to not only free him, but to educate him. So what he says about debt is, he says, debt is the slavery of the free. And who knows the feeling of slavery more than somebody who is actually enslaved? So when we look at the debt that we're carrying financially, what that is doing is that is keeping us bound and binded and not allowing us to escape these cages and to be free. Number 7, cut down on expenses. There's something called the paradox of choice. Now, along with the paradox of choice, we also have something that's called the backwards law. And both of these were popularized by the social psychologist Alan Watts. All it does is it suggests that by having too many options or constantly pursuing something can paradoxically make us feel less satisfied and desire more of the thing. Now, we know it as this. All that means is the more money you make, the more money you're going to want to spend. And this is why when I'm working with my students, someone can make $500,000 a year, literally $500,000 a year, and someone can make $50,000 a year, and both of them will live paycheck to paycheck. So this is why we say one of the fastest ways to actually give yourself a raise is learn how to cut back on your expenses. Number 8, find a coach or an advisor or somebody to work with. I always tell people a mentor is literally your own personal compass to success. I owe all of the success that I've had in the last decade, and it's been a lot of success. All of that success is because of the mentors I either had sort of found or that have found me. I would say I invest hundreds of thousands of dollars every single year at this point for mentorship. You're always going to have to pay. So you can pay for the shortcut through mentorship, or you can pay the price of trying to figure it out on your own, but you are going to pay. John Crosby says this about mentorship. He says, mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. And the famous J. Lauren Norris says, if you cannot see where you're going, ask someone who's been there before. So find the people that have walked the path before you and take shortcuts, man. That's one of the easiest ways to become successful, is to lean on the shoulders of giants, of people that's already done it before you and already made the mistakes. Number 9. So we're finally at the end, the 9 ways of really scaling your income over the next year. Generate multiple streams of income. I get paid every single month in 6 different ways. Let's talk about them. I get paid from royalties from the books that I write. I get paid distributions from not only my companies, but companies that I invest in. I get paid a W-2 income from 2 of my companies. I get paid through dividends through stocks. I get paid rental income through real estate, and I get paid interest payments from savings and from personal loans that we loan out. So 6 different ways, maybe 7 different ways of getting paid. So you want to generate multiple streams of income, whether that's dividends through stocks and bonds, whether that's rental income from real estate that you own now or that you're going to own in the future. Maybe it's starting a side business, or maybe it's just like renting out a room in your house, or renting out your car, or freaking renting your bike. I don't know. But what I do know is having those multiple streams of income that's not taking up a tremendous amount of your time, and that's going to give you more money so that you can invest, is one of the ways that now when we start driving down these streets and we see these people living a way that we desire to live, we no longer have to worry about how did they do it. All we have to do is follow these 9 steps. My name is Jamil Frazier. I encourage you, if you're not already a subscriber, to go on to subscribe to the channel, press the thumbs up, follow me across all the social media pages, and I look to see you on the next video.